So those were the headlines, and let's now put the spotlight on Kerala-based semiconductor startup Netrasemi. It has raised 107 crore rupees in fresh funding from Zoho Corporation and Unicorn India Ventures. In fact, the Edge AI chip maker is developing advanced system-on-chip circuits to power IoT products across sectors like surveillance, robotics, and smart infrastructure. It was founded in 2020, and the deep tech venture is currently in the R&D and prototyping phase, and there are plans to launch its first product by early 2026. In fact, to discuss the funding and the growth plans of the company, we're now joined by Jyotis Indirabhai, the co-founder and CEO of Netrasemi. Thank you very much, Mr. Indirabhai, for joining us here on ET Now. First things first, this 107 crores is a big signal. What's the first thing that Netrasemi is going to do with this fresh capital that you've generated?
First of all, thank you, Samita, for having me here. And yes, I think you're right. Netrasemi recently raised 107 crores from Zoho and our investor Unicorn Ventures. So we are actually using these funds. I mean, right now we are in a phase where we just completed the R&D phase. Our prototype is ready, and we are actually getting it fabricated. And the fund is going to be used primarily for commercialization aspects. We have to take the two chips to the market, give it to customers, make sure that enough customer traction is made, and it is ready and qualified for the mass manufacturing. So that is the next phase of our startup, and this fund is going to be utilized for that. And the fund came during the right time when our design is ready and the team is ready, and there are opportunities in front of us for commercialization phase.
Right, Mr. Indirabhai, can you tell us more about this target that you given yourself, which is essentially of coming out with the first product by 2026? What kind of chips are you going to be focused on?
Yes, so we are actually an Edge AI company. So the chips are going to address a space called intelligent IoT devices and smart devices with inbuilt compute capabilities, inbuilt AI capabilities, primarily targeting computer vision as a domain. Computer vision means devices which are capable of doing video analytics on device, on premise, without the need of sending data to cloud or servers. So these chips are going to be extremely energy efficient, so that it can do AI processing in small devices with minimal thermal footprint. So our architecture is primarily making these chips energy efficient for AI, and with a lot of domain-specific features that are critical for device-based AI. And of course, our application area is CCTV cameras, surveillance applications, then smart IoT sensors, and also applications and use cases like drones, smart robots, etc.
Right. Right, Mr. Netrasemi. So is the company aiming to be a fabless design company, or are you considering manufacturing capabilities too, after a while maybe?
No, I think we continue to be a fabless manufacturer. So that means the fab is going to be elsewhere. So right now we are getting it manufactured in Taiwan, and so at the TSMC. I mean, TSMC is one of the most popular foundries. So the chip is going to be manufactured in one of the advanced manufacturing node, the technology node in TSMC, and that is the typical typical mechanism where fabless companies focus mainly on chip design, owning the chip, and getting it commercialized, whereas fab or the foundries take care of the chemical and all the manufacturing related complexity. So these two domains I consider different, and I mean each sector has its own role to play. And majority of almost all the chip companies in the world, with the exception of Intel, Samsung, etc., almost all the chip companies do fabless manufacturing. Fab is going to be either Taiwan or those kind of geos where they have invested heavily on the fab and foundries.
Right.
And of course,
right.
India is
Mr.
building.
Indirabhai, in fact, currently, as far as fabs are.
Yeah, India is actually heavily investing on the fab. So in future, I hope to get it manufactured in India also when the right kind of technology is implemented in India. But until then, we have no other options other than getting in manufactured countries like Taiwan.
Right. So for now, you're going to be focused on design, but of course, the manufacturing is going to take place elsewhere in fabs. But in future, you don't really mind giving that, a manufacturing capability to fabs here in India. And Mr. Indira Bhai, as we speak, we do know that there is a fab that's coming up in India as well under the India Semiconductor Mission Part 1. That's been the government's flagship scheme to promote the semiconductor industry and particularly the manufacturing industry here in India. So let's talk about India's semiconductor ambitions, which seem huge at the moment. Where does Netrasemi fit in that larger national mission?
Sure. I think we are extremely excited to be part of this phase where the nation building is happening and the semiconductor is going to be playing a big part of it. And government is having extremely high focus on semiconductors. So I think it's very heartening to see, and this is the first time we are seeing this kind of focus on this sector. And this is a very critical sector which was ignored for a very long time. And this is the right time India is putting focus on that. And this is going to help a lot of products coming out of India because the chips fuel a lot of that growth are made out of India. So coming back to the fab and fabulous story, so India is going to build a lot of a new set of fabs. For example, Tata is investing on new fab in India, the foundry in India, which is very heartening to see because in future we can consider one of these foundries to manufacture our chip. But I think it will take some time because we are in a critical field of AI where we need to go for advanced technology nodes. So but in future, but right now it may not be the chips, the technology nodes coming to India may not be the most advanced. But in future, we see that our manufacturing can be relocated to India if the right kind of technologies are offered in India, right? So, of course, definitely having it locally manufactured will give us a lot of advantage in terms of completely domestic, the process for the production of these chips. And we are looking forward to that. But until then, we have to depend on this external manufacturing capabilities.
Right. Right. Mr. Indira Bhai, if I were to ask you these chips that you're getting designed and then, of course, you plan to have them manufactured as well, which particular sectors are you targeting so far as meeting the needs is concerned? And are there any clients or deals in the pipeline as of now?
Yeah, I think we are in a segment called IoT and surveillance. So those are the sectors we are. So if you look at the type of technologies we are enabling, this is smart vision is the major segment our chips are targeted for. Vision means you're primarily automating human eyes and human brain. So that means the area of the use cases are extremely high. And India is badly needing certain type of technologies. For example, secure CCTV or secure surveillance, secure like highly self-navigating devices like drones and drones and robots. So these are the areas where India will have to build products from. So naturally, I can easily see that surveillance space is one area which is wide open, and we are rightly placed to address that market. So we are going to launch a few chips in that area, especially on the CCTV, which is a high volume segment in India, and we plan to release a chip for that market in the coming months. So we see that there are very good low-hanging fruits out there, and we are ready to capture those markets.
Right, sir. But what is the biggest challenge at the moment in building a semiconductor company in India today? Is it talent, capital, or infrastructure?
It is, I would say, all of them. Talent is extremely important because India is India is the right place to build talent. We have significant MNCs here, and a lot of people are working in those segments. And even there are India is mainly a design country. A lot of IP or IP-oriented thought process or even design skills are there among the youth. But only thing is you need to refine those skills, train the raw talent. So those are the things the startups and the industry need to do that. And even from the government side, that kind of initiatives are in place. For example, C2S, the Chip to Startup program, is envisaged for training the bigger population. So that program is introduced by the MITI, the central ministry, to train around 85,000 trained semiconductor engineers. So we are also part of those kind of programs where we want to build the semiconductor talent here. So talent is somehow being addressed, and talent is something the country needs to invest on. The second part is the investment. The capital is a very important piece, where the earlier days, the semiconductor, there were not too many the investors who were interested in investing in the semiconductor sector. We were one of the, I mean, we earlier had a very tough time convincing the investors in this space. But with a lot of new focus on semiconductors due to multiple reasons, for example, geopolitical reasons or many other reasons, and even from the government focus side, there is a lot of attention went into the semiconductor as a sector. So naturally, there is a lot of interest coming from the investor world. So that I think that even the capital the issue is also getting addressed now. And infrastructure is the third biggest thing. That is even there there are some gaps getting filled today. If you look at the DLI program, which is launched by the central government and which is actually addressing this particular issue. So the very expensive tools like EDA, the design automation tools for building the semiconductor designs, are now getting offered to the startups who are in this segment. So the government is buying those tools and making them available to the startups. So there are multiple ways of addressing this, and those kind of actions are being taken. And startups like us are getting like early movers in this segment are getting benefit out of this, and we are able to move ahead and raise capital and talent to address these kind of challenges.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Rindera Bhai, what would your recommendations to the government be for India Semiconductor Mission Part 2 in terms of what is needed at the moment? Is it more of design capabilities that the industry at present needs, or is it more access to capital? What would be your recommendations and your feedback to the government before the ISM 2 scheme gets rolled out?
I think so I would say ISM 1 was a bit of, I mean, they were actually experimenting a lot, and because it's quite new even for the government and the organizations there. So the things were not extremely clear, because this was the first time anywhere in the world such kind of programs were announced. And I can easily understand how the agencies were struggling to handle this complexity of getting the vendors in, getting the startups ready for these things, making processes in place to evaluate on all those things, right? So those problems are addressed today. So now these agencies know how to manage this kind of task. But as a second phase, which is the ISM 2, I would like to see much more efficient implementation of these steps, and even understanding the real need of the startups like semiconductor. They already know what kind of challenges to expect, what are the real the capital challenges, and also the kind of scheme refinement needed. So they can actually handle this in a much better way. On the same note, I would like to see government also trying to capitalize India as a market for the semiconductor sector, right? Earlier, it was like you help the startups, you help to fill the gaps there, to address their immediate implementation capital and talent need. That was the focus of ISM 1. But ISM 2, I would like to see India focusing on system building, right? How to address the real market need, how to use India as a market for the semiconductor sector, and how to make maximum benefit out of having such a big human consumer base here, right? And definitely, if you take advantages of that Indian advantage or Indian market advantage, I think this sector can have very big impact for nation building.
Absolutely, Mr. Rindarabai, and that is essentially what the government is looking at. Of course, it's going to take about a decade or 2 decades or so to sort of have India in global semiconductor supply chains, and we do hope that the government of India is listening to you and your feedback and your suggestions, and we do hope that the IT ministry can incorporate them into the India Semiconductor Mission 2 scheme whenever it gets rolled out. Well, on that note, thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking to us here on Startup Central.
Thank you, Sumita, and thank you, ET now.